so much easier on the show. So, hello YouTube. So, today we are going to be talking about the 4th season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, a lot of stuff happened this season, and yeah, I'm gonna have to be glossing over quite a few things, and also I'm gonna be spoiling a few things. So, if you don't want anything spoiled, just watch some other video about the show. So, yeah, what happens this season? Well, there are a few arcs going on. The first one is the Ghost Rider arc, in which Robbie Reyes is introduced, aka the Ghost Rider, and he's been killing criminals in pretty gruesome ways, and he's mainly been going after them because of, well, his origin and what happened to him. Pretty much his deal is that he was killed during a street race, and he made a deal with the devil so that he could come back to life and help out his brother. And that deal required selling his soul, which of course means that he becomes the Ghost Rider. And it's freaking awesome. Seriously, I have no regrets on this show being moved back an hour, because now we get a lot of awesome scenes with Ghost Rider. So yeah, no argument from me there. But, fortunately, Robbie Reyes is not the only one in the Ghost Rider arc. We also have the Darkhold being introduced, which is a magic book. Yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is now going right into magic. I guess because Doctor Strange is out now, so technically magic is in the Marvel Universe. And yeah, there already kind of was with Thor and everything, but yeah, now they're going right into it, and that's the main focus of this season. So, what's up with the Darkhold? Well, it's an ancient book that, if you read it, it pretty much corrupts you for some reason. And yeah, that's pretty much the biggest plot. But yeah, there are some ghosts trying to get it, so then they can get their bodies back. And apparently Robbie's uncle was the one who made them into ghosts, as he was working with them in order to try and do something with the Darkhold. I really forgot what. I know that they were making stuff out of non-existent matter, or like they were taking random parts of matter and making something else with it, but yeah, that's still a pretty lame reason if you ask me. So yeah, that he becomes evil. Robbie's uncle becomes evil. He had to fight him. He's defeated, and the Darkhold gets into the hands of Ratcliffe. Yeah, the scientist from last season. You know, the guy who worked with Hive. So yeah, this season he's evil again. You know, I really did enjoy him being a good guy, but no, clearly we need him to be evil. So, yeah, now he's been corrupted by the Darkhold, and him and Fitz have also been working on making a robot, or, well, artificial life form, to be technical. And that robot is named Ada, who, after everything that happened with Ultron, they had to keep the fact that she's an android a secret because, yeah, Ultron didn't really go that well. So, yeah, seeing as everything went so well with Ultron, they decided, let's do this for ourselves. Clearly it'll work better. What do you think happens? So, yeah, Ada kind of goes nuts. Eventually, it's revealed that Ratcliffe wanted all this to happen because he's a sinister mastermind now. And although he's also not really responsible for that. And, yeah, it gets really weird here and very, very boring. So, yeah, there's a lot of emotional stuff going on with the team. Daisy's deciding whether or not to stay. May is replaced by an android as well, because Ada all this time has been replacing people with androids. And yeah, there's some stuff revealed about the new director, who is said to be inhuman but really isn't, and instead it's just some drugs that he takes that gives him temporarily inhuman abilities. Of course, they don't have any scientists actually working on making it permanent, which would be a smart idea, but no, clearly we can't have that. And eventually, Ratcliffe is killed because Ada and him have been working on the framework, and she doesn't need him anymore, so she puts him in there. And the framework is a virtual reality, which pretty much makes anything that you want to happen, or can fix any regret that you've ever had in your life. And also, it can save the whole entire personality of somebody who's died and then was immediately put in. And do you see why I said this was confusing? This is pretty much the very confusing plot to the Matrix. So, yeah. It gets even more boring here because everyone's a robot. Yeah, really, everybody gets replaced by robots except for Fitz, Simmons. Wait, no, sorry, Fitz does get taken away, unfortunately. So, yeah, the only people that are left are Daisy, Simmons, Yo-Yo, and some other no-names. Or just some people that I don't care to learn the name of. And so, yeah, then Daisy and Simmons decide, let's go into the framework because it seems to be going really well. And then we can get all these other people out. Amazingly, things go wrong, like the fact that this is a complete what-if scenario, and yes, that is what the first episode where they're inside the framework is called. Pretty sure that's a reference to Marvel's What If comics line, and if so, it's awesome. So, yeah, they are all inside the framework, which is now completely Hydra controlled because a lot of things happened, like May not killing a little girl, which is how she got the name the Cavalry, and pretty much her doing that somehow created Hydra being able to stay. Yeah, I don't really get how that actually happened, but yeah, not killing a little girl of course means that Hydra is around now and S.H.I.E.L.D. has been defeated instead. Makes complete sense. Coulson is a history teacher now. Kind of weird. Daisy and thankfully, Ward, yes, Ward is back, and I am so happy about that. Ward is still awesome. I don't care if he's evil or not, he's still so much fun. I don't even care if he's not him, he's still a lot of fun. So, yeah, now he's also a good guy, and actually, he's working with the sort of underground revolution that S.H.I.E.L.D. sort of has. It's not technically S.H.I.E.L.D., but yeah, it's S.H.I.E.L.D. pretty much. And May is now working for Hydra as well, and she's pretty high ranking in it. And Fitz is dating the person in charge of Hydra, which is Ada, and he's also evil now. I love this arc. So, yeah, also Mac is now living a perfectly happy life with his daughter who died. Yeah. That's actually a sad part. But evil Fitz! That's awesome! So, yeah, Mace is actually killed in this whole entire world because here he was actually an Inhuman and actually the leader of the revolution going on. And yeah, Fitz orders an airstrike on him, and he dies. And and if you die in the virtual reality world, you die for real. So he does die, and it's sad for a while. And eventually, Daisy and Simmons do get everybody out, and yeah, some of them are happy, and others treat it not the best. Like Fitz. Like everything that happened with him in there, still totally stuff that he did, and he still totally killed people, so yeah. And also he kind of loves Ada now because he has two fighting memories, and yeah, it's pretty harsh for him. He already had mental issues. Did we need this for him again? So yeah, him and Ada now an Inhuman, because of course she is, and this whole entire time her and Fitz have been working on making an actual human body for her in the real world. Makes perfect sense. So yeah, she's also in love with Fitz, and she has a lot of emotions building up, and yeah, seeing as she's now an adult and she has never felt any emotions before, that's kind of a lot to deal with. So she wants Fitz help with that, while all the other agents are now trying to find out, well, what's she gonna do now. Also, and yeah, then Ghost Rider comes back. Yay. And yeah, just awesome fights happen for a while. And then Ada finds out, yeah, Fitz still kind of loves somebody else in this reality, so, yeah, wasn't really the best idea to go out with him. But, yeah, she gets pretty pissed about that and decides, now I'm going to destroy the world because one guy didn't love me. Makes perfect sense. And Mac has also decided to stay in the framework because, well, his daughter is there, and yeah, why not stay? Although the framework is being deleted because Ada doesn't really need it anymore, so Yo-Yo, who now kind of has a relationship going on with Mac, decides to go inside the framework herself and save Mac. And she does that, and Dr. Radcliffe is sort of stuck in there because Ada killed him, and so he dies. But he dies really happy on a beach and almost drinking something. Yeah, he starts to drink something, but then he gets deleted and just falls down. And then it's up to the whole entire team of S.H.I.E.L.D. to take down Ada. And there's a big elaborate plan going on, eventually ending with Ghost Rider, who Coulson is now actually the host for, killing Ada, and then the Rider going back to Robbie, and yeah, everyone's pretty okay now. And Fitz really quickly got over the fact that he killed a bunch of people. Don't know why he's over that so fast. He also tortured hundreds of Inhumans. He's also over that. Don't know why. And yeah. So they're kind of wanted by the government now because there was this thing that Ada was doing to try and ruin S.H.I.E.L.D's reputation. And so she had a robot of Daisy go in and kill Talbot, and now they're wanted, so yeah, things aren't really going the best for them. Although we do get to see Robot Daisy burn, and if you guys know my thoughts on Daisy last season, you know I loved this.
Seriously, therapy, just consider it.
Yes, burn, Daisy, burn. Okay, yeah, I might still not really like her all that much. So yeah, that's pretty. And yeah, now that all the agents are wanted by the government, they decide, might as well just accept our fate. There's nothing that we can really do. So they all go to a restaurant and are fully prepared to be arrested, and they wake up in space. Yep. And Coulson says it's time to get back to work. So I guess that they weren't all that wanted. So yeah. That happened. That's most likely a reference to S.H.I.E.L.D. Or at least that's what I think it is. I don't really know for sure. But I'm really hoping it is. Because S.H.I.E.L.D. is pretty much the space version of S.H.I.E.L.D. So S.H.I.E.L.D. in space. That's what they're teasing us. I love this show. So, yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4 is pretty mixed. On the one hand, the first 2 arcs of the season were pretty lackluster, as they're very boring. Even with a flaming skull going around and killing people, they still found a way to make that boring, and the LMD arc was also pretty boring as well, as it's essentially this. Are you a robot? Yes. Are you a robot? No. Are you a robot? Yeah, maybe. Are you a robot? I don't know. Am I a robot? No. So, yeah, that's essentially what that whole season was. It got pretty boring after a while, although that led into the framework arc, which that's where the show picked itself back up again. I cannot say this enough. The framework arc is amazing. It takes the what if scenario and does it to an extreme. It is great seeing all these characters that we've gotten to know and love throughout the course of the show being thrown into completely new and bizarre situations. And also with Hydra being brought in, again, it's awesome because, yeah, Hydra in the MCU right now is defeated, at least for now. I don't know if it'll come back. I hope not. They've kind of done that to the ground. But here, it has a fresh new take on it, and I really loved seeing it. Also, Ada is Madam Hydra here. That's freaking awesome to me. So yeah, it's really the framework arc that got me to really love this show again. It got me very, very impatiently waiting the next episode because I really want to see what else happened. So yeah, the framework arc is where the whole entire show turned itself back around and became as awesome as it's already been. So yeah, I loved the framework arc, and since Fitz is my favorite character on the show, and I do like it when characters turn evil, that was especially awesome to me. So yeah, it was great. And then everything that came afterwards, while not as endearing to me as the framework arc, was still great. At that point, I had already been fully on board with the show again, and I just loved watching everything else that happened. Seeing the repercussions of the framework was also very interesting for the characters, so I really loved that. So yeah, the framework arc, that's where the show was really, really great and where it really shined again. So yeah, I loved the framework arc. And while the Ghost Rider arc is also very good, mainly because Ghost Rider is there, the rest of it wasn't all that interesting. And the L&D arc was very boring. I mean, sure, okay, it did have some nice moments, but outside of those, it was very dull. So yeah, having the framework come in was a great idea, and it's executed very well. So yeah, maybe skip the L&D arc, although yeah, it does have some continuity brought in the framework. So yeah, you might have to watch that, but definitely do keep on watching through the L&D arc because it leads up to probably the best arc of the show has had so far. So yeah, I loved that arc. It was great. So yeah, for the season overall, it's pretty mixed with its story arcs going on, as yeah, some of them are very boring but still do have some funny moments, which is something that I pretty much associate with the show now. I especially loved it when Mac and Yo-Yo are just talking about B horror movies. I personally loved that because I am a huge fan of B horror movies, and to just see these characters talking about B movies that do actually exist and not just making up ones like a lot of other shows will was particularly awesome to me. And I gotta get around to watching Chopping Mall and The Lawnmower Man. I seriously gotta watch those one day. Although I'm really surprised they didn't bring up the one where everyone became frozen. Like, I think that one had robots. Wait, no, never mind, it didn't. Sorry, I'm an idiot. So, yeah, I particularly love the humor this season as well, as it was really good, and that's probably what makes a lot of the boring aspects of some of the arcs really just endurable, because they're pretty funny. Like, this show really does shine with its humor as well. That's part of what I love about these characters. They are legitimately funny. So yeah, this season, well, not as good as some of the others. Definitely did have a spectacular ending. So yeah, the ending makes this whole entire season worth it. Also, we get Ghost Rider, which is freaking awesome. And so yeah, that's pretty much it for what's going on in the story on this season. But we still got the characters to talk about, and oh boy, there are a lot. So let's start off with the knowings? The knowings? You know, all the brother guys, the guys who look exactly the same. Yeah, those guys. They are in this season, and they kind of explain what they are. Like, I've always sort of found myself wondering, are they robots? Are they clones? Are they siblings? The season kind of confirmed it. I think that they're siblings. I really don't know. Like, I wasn't really paying that much attention to this episode, that one episode, because a lot of boring stuff had been going on, so I didn't really find a reason to care, but they're still pretty funny, so that's something. Also, they have a sister who's a freaking awesome agent, and I hope that she returns. And then we got Mace. Very, very strong. On the one hand, I do like his character, especially when he's in the framework, where he's pretty much the character that he's been built up to the public as, but when he's just in the normal world, that's where I'm very mixed on him. On the one hand, I do like that he has actually taken the responsibility of becoming director, and while he doesn't treat the job at the best at first, he does start to care about it more and more over the course of this season, so I did really like seeing that happen. But he's also a pretty big wimp. So, yeah, that was the part of him that I didn't really like as much as, yeah, he's just not all that, not that brave. Just kind of bland in that regard. And for a director of S.H.I.E.L.D., that's a bad thing. He's mostly just the director for PR. So, yeah. Didn't really like that. But he is still a pretty decent character, especially when he gets in the framework, so I was able to look past that. Then we got Anton. He's a Russian guy who hates Inhumans and wants nothing to do with technology, despite the fact that he's in a huge submarine. Yeah, so he's like part Amish, I guess. So yeah, he is pretty boring. Actually, no, not just pretty boring. He's extremely boring. It was probably the most boring thing going on while the whole framework stuff was happening. Probably my favorite part was where he got turned into a robot, mainly because that means that he just wasn't in episodes for a while, and him being thought of as like one of the big villains this season really made him boring, and his introduction was he's just there, don't question it. I hate character introductions like that, and they especially screwed it up this season with Anton. This guy had the potential to actually be a cool character, but nah. Let's just have him be there and then be a robot. Then die. That's essentially it with him. Then we have Gabe Reyes. It's actually a pretty good character. For the most part, I enjoyed him, and him actually finding out about what his brother really is and what's going on with him actually made him much more endearing. And usually, I don't really like little kids on a show, especially when the show is made for like teenagers or adults. Usually little kids being put in just sort of ruins it, but he's not all that young, and like he's more of a teen, I guess. I should really just say that more about Hope, which I'll talk about next. But yeah, Gabe is actually a pretty good character, and I really did enjoy watching him. He does a pretty good job, and he does add a much more human side to Robbie, so I liked his addition here. So then we got Hope. She is the daughter of Mac and is really only in this season in the framework. Although they do mention her once before, where it's pretty much revealed that Mac once had a daughter. Can't remember if it was actually revealed at any other season or this season, but yeah. To me, she was just brought up this season. Really, I sort of forgot if she was brought up before, though. And so she was, just remind me, I guess. But yeah, Hope, I actually really enjoyed here. Like I said before, accidentally talking about this on Gabe, usually kid characters on a show really do wreck it, but Hope actually adds a lot more drama to it. As she is adorable for one. Seriously, this little kid's awesome. And the fact that she watches B horror movies like Chopping Mall with her dad, I love that. Although, yeah, it's also kind of a nice little reference for her to be watching something that they brought up with the LMD arc. one of the few reasons that the LMDR gets my slight approval. And also, it's pretty awesome to be showing a kid a B horror movie, as usually those ones get away with a whole lot more gore. Though I still have yet to watch Chopping Mall, so that one might not be as gory as most. But yeah, the fact that Mac is even showing his daughter all these B horror movies, I freaking love. So yeah, Hope is also pretty good with technology, which is something that actually kind of made me think that she might be a reference to Moon Girl, given that her appearance is kind of similar, and also she likes technology and stuff. But yeah, the name kind of debunks that theory. Although, does anyone else think that she is? Because she's pretty similar in some ways. But yeah, Hope is still a very likable character here, even though she is just the little kid character on a show. But she does add a lot more to Mac's character, and does add a lot more emotion invested in the framework. Really, I was actually kind of hoping that they would bring her into the real world the same way they did Ada, because I loved this character and really want to see more done with her. And the emotional scars of having her die right in Mac's arms, I'm pretty sure that's not going to leave the character anytime soon. So I look forward to seeing the repercussions of that. Then we got Talbot. For the most part, I really enjoyed him this season, although then we had the final episodes with him. For one, he dies. Why? I freaking love Talbot. Him and Coulson going off on one another, it's always hilarious. They work so well together. And now, nope, just dead. Bullet through the brain. No need to care about him. Well, guess what? I did actually really like this character, and I am gonna miss him a lot. Although I will say that his death isn't without any actual points. He did die for a reason. So yeah, that does kind of make me excuse it, but I still am really gonna miss him. And Coulson just sort of working off one another. That's usually always really fun, and that's why I always look forward to seeing Talbot. But now I can never get that again. I'm gonna miss him. Now, when speaking of people who died, this season they did also pay their respects to Bill Paxton, who played the villain on the show in season 1. Bill Paxton was a great actor, and it's a big shame that he's gone now. Nothing else really to say about him outside of that to me. I haven't really seen that many movies that he's in, and I didn't really ever meet the guy or anything, but he seemed like a very nice man, and he was a great actor. Nothing else really to add, but yeah, he's gonna be missed. So, then we got Ada. I am mixed on her because she got pretty boring with her repetition throughout the season. Most of it was her being like, I'm gonna be human. Oh, look at that. I'm an evil robot. I want to be human. The only way to go past my programming is to be human. I totally can't just, reprogram myself or something. No, obviously I had to become human. And yeah, that's kind of where she fell apart to me. Although, I do have to say this. Again, the framework arc does kind of save her, because here she actually seems much more human, and we do get to see the natural evolution of her humanity starting to come out until eventually she gets way too much of it at once. And yeah, I did actually really like that, and her starting to build a relationship with Fitz and eventually just having it destroyed because, well, she pretty much created it, I really liked. And I just really enjoyed seeing Ada here. She was a really fun character, and, well, okay, not really fun, she's actually pretty depressing, but she was a very interesting character, and one that I really did enjoy watching, and her death was also pretty sad, so yeah, I liked Ada this season, and she is kind of a tragic character in her own way, so yeah, I really enjoyed her here. Then we got Robbie Reyes. He's freaking awesome. Seriously, I don't know how else I can say it. He's great. I really love Robbie Reyes here because he's just freaking awesome. Probably my biggest complaint with the Ghost Rider movies is that while Ghost Rider in the first one is awesome, Johnny Blaze isn't that great or endearing in any way. this show completely fixes that because both Robbie and Ghost Rider are interesting characters and ones that I both enjoy following. And so they really did fix a problem with the other live action adaptations of Ghost Rider that I've had. Also, we got to see a little cameo of Johnny Blaze, which was freaking awesome, and I hope that something comes out of that later. And Robbie going through hell at one point, well, okay, what's basically hell, was really interesting, and I hope that they bring that back later, because I want to see his little hell adventures. Honestly, Robbie in the show is probably a character that I wouldn't mind actually seeing a spin-off of. Well, yes, there are a lot of superhero shows that I watch, and sometimes I kind of think, maybe I need to stop watching all these, because there are a lot, and that takes a lot of time. Ghost Rider is one that I wouldn't mind watching. So yeah, Robbie Reyes this season is awesome, and I cannot wait to see more things that happen with him. Also, his little teleportation thing, that was the exact same one from Doctor Strange. I know that a lot of people noticed that, but that was freaking awesome to me. It's a very subtle reference, and I really enjoyed watching it. Although some of the family drama with Robbie was kind of boring to me. Like the stuff with his uncle I never really cared about. So yeah, it's kind of mixed on him with the family drama, but him and Gabe definitely does make up for that. So yeah, I was quickly able to ignore the stuff with his uncle. And then we got Dr. Radcliffe. Poor Dr. Radcliffe. Okay, so last season, he was a doctor who was being manipulated by the Hive, or, well, forced to work with the Hive, because the Hive needed him for science stuff. I really don't care what he needed him for. And, yeah, then eventually he eventually did join the team on S.H.I.E.L.D. and became actually a pretty good scientist on the whole entire team. I really enjoyed Radcliffe. He's really funny, and him working with Fitz and Simmons was great because we get to see another scientist working with already very well accomplished scientists. I really enjoyed seeing that. But then they screwed it up because now he was evil, apparently, because he read from the Darkhold once, which just one read automatically corrupted him. Well, even though they showed before that some of the characters had to read a few times to get corrupted, I guess Radcliffe just easily turned evil. And yeah, that was very boring to me and totally destroyed his character. I liked him when he was a good guy who was also pretty funny and worked well off of some other characters, but no, clearly that's not what we wanted. No, we want to see him go evil and work with boring characters like Anton. No, I didn't want to see that. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one, because I heard a lot of people say that when he was evil during that arc, it's the worst arc of them all. And I partly blame that on the writing for Radcliffe here, because while the actor doesn't do a bad job or anything, really it's what's going on with him that was very boring. So yeah, not only did they take away what was actually interesting with him, but they couldn't do it in an interesting way, which is probably my biggest problem with him. Although I did like them introducing that he did have someone that he loved, who he was also trying to save the life of, which is partly why he created the framework. I did really like that, and that did add a lot more to him. Unfortunately, it's only like one episode talking about that, and then he kills her, so then he can put her in this little virtual reality, which he'll sometimes visit until he gets killed and put in there himself, where he lived his life with her until Fitz shot her. So yeah. Also, Radcliffe never got angry at Fitz for shooting the woman that he loved. Just never. Never got angry about him for that. Don't know why. Like, there's never one moment where he goes out there and wants to punch him or anything. He just gets sort of pissed, and he's just like, don't worry, I know that's not you. This isn't what you really are. I'm just like, he just killed the woman that that you love right in front of you. At least try and get a little bit pissed for a while, and then maybe try and be nice to him again when you see him next time, which he does. So clearly there wasn't a need for him to be like, this isn't really you there, but no, obviously that needed to happen. So then we got Mac, who I still really enjoyed this season. Really, he was out of the whole entire team on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this season. None of them really get that much development outside of like May and Coulson. Okay, well actually all of them kind of do. Okay, I'm kind of screwing up my reasoning here, but yeah, Mac, out of a lot of the characters that get stuck in the framework, he's the only one who actually decided to stay. And the reason was actually really tragic. Although when they first bring up his dead daughter, not gonna lie, I thought that he was making that up. I know, I feel like a completely terrible person for thinking that, at least now, but when he first left to do that, they never show him grieving over his daughter, and yeah, they never really show anything other than that, and it sort of sounded like he was making it up on the spot, so I thought, well, he said earlier that he's going to be working with Robbie, so was he helping out Robbie there or something? But nope, apparently he did really have a daughter that he was grieving. They just decided not to show that for some reason. Don't know why. But yeah, really the introduction of his daughter in the framework arc is really what made him more endearing this season, and I actually really liked it. It was a very tragic side to him that hasn't really been explored and had a whole lot more character to him. So I really enjoyed that. And him and Yo-Yo's development, I did really like as well. And speaking of Yo-Yo, she's really good this season. She's freaking awesome still. So yeah, I liked her. Also, the fact that she hates wearing a dress, I can relate. Yo-Yo, you're awesome to me, so yeah. Don't like wearing dresses. I like you, Yo-Yo. So, yeah. Yo-Yo's freaking awesome here, too. And she's sort of an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. now. And is one of the few Inhumans to actually stay with the team. And, yeah, I freaking loved her here. She's still freaking awesome. And her relationship with Mac does really grow in a very natural way. And I did really like seeing that happen. So, yeah. I enjoyed both of them this season. And yeah, I just look forward to seeing what else will happen with these characters, especially Mac after losing his daughter. Something that I really am interested in seeing how that actually affects him. Then we got Simmons. I enjoyed her. Like, not that much else to say about her here, just sort of I enjoyed her. Her relationship with Fitz has finally actually gone somewhere. Yeah, it only took 4 seasons to actually do something with that. And yeah, I really do like how it's done. They finally decided, screw it. We have feelings for each other. Let's just say it. I mean, like, all our friends keep on dying. We don't want to die before we say that. So yeah, they finally do admit it to each other. And yeah, it's pretty nice for them this season. Although, it kind of takes a step backwards as in the framework arc, yeah, Fitz is evil. So it kind of does go back a little bit. And yeah, that's probably my biggest problem with their relationship this season. But outside of that, Simmons is still a really great character, and I do really like her here. So yeah, Simmons is awesome as well. And I did enjoy some of the development for her this season. Also, she does get some moments to shine as just being a good scientist. So yeah, I really enjoyed her this season. I mean, not as much as some of the other characters, but yeah, I enjoyed her. Then we got Fitz. Okay, so yeah, Fitz is my favorite character on this show. I freaking love Fitz on here. He's just great. I really just enjoy him. Maybe it's the accent, maybe it's just the interesting story that he had with mental issues, which is really where I just sort of said, screw it, this guy's my favorite character. I don't care what anyone else says. But yeah, I really did enjoy Fitz, and this season just made me like him even more. Mainly in the framework. The freaking framework solved so many things. And so, yeah, well, him and Simmons finally decided, yeah, okay, let's just date. We're dating now, okay. That's really when both of them sort of stopped developing for a pretty good while this season. They were just sort of there, they were doing science stuff, and that's mainly why I didn't have that much to say about Simmons. But when they enter the framework, things change. Fitz turns evil, and that was a really interesting development to me. With the inclusion of him now being the Doctor, I wonder if he had TARDIS in his room. What? I mean, him and Simmons did reference Doctor Who. It would make sense to me. Seriously, that nickname. I kind of loved that. So, yeah, Fitz is now being called the Doctor at Hydra, and he tortures Inhumans in order to find out what makes them tick. It was really, really a dark turn for him. And also, he sort of becomes director of Hydra at one point, mainly because Ada kind of has all her bones broken. So, yeah. He's not really at the best place, really. I mean, yeah, okay, he kind of doesn't. I mean, yeah, okay, so he does enjoy being evil, mainly because he's had his memories altered. He gets to live with his father now. He gets to also have his father around and actually give a crap about him. And also, he has a woman that he loves. Things are kind of going well for him outside the fact that he's torturing a bunch of people. And also kills people in air raids. Yeah. But then he starts hating the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Why? Because they permanently paralyzed and pretty much bedridden Ada. God, that is really where things got interesting with him for me, because now I was just waiting around for Fitz versus Simmons. Okay, well, Fitz when he actually does meet up with Simmons while he's evil. And that resulted in an amazing scene. So yeah, everything going on with Fitz in the framework I freaking loved. And then eventually he was just kicked out, and then we get to see the repercussions of it on him. He's probably the one who takes the whole entire framework thing the hardest, and it's very easy to see why. It's because he did actually kill people in there. And while, yes, he didn't really have control on it, on anything that he did there, and it's not his fault, he did still do those actions. And that's really what made him very interesting this season to me. Also, his relationship with Ada and Simmons really did push the character a whole lot. And yeah, I was kind of worried that he was gonna fall into his mental illness thing again. I mean, like, that could have very easily happened, and I got kind of worried there. But thankfully, he's still okay in the head. That's nice. So yeah, Fitz this season was freaking great, and I loved it, and I can't wait to see more of him, especially with everything that happened in the framework. Although he did kind of get over the little thing of killing people pretty easily, like, oh my god, I just killed a bunch of people. I can't really do a Scottish accent. Oh my god, I just killed a bunch of people. It's okay, get over it. Oh, okay. Don't worry, we all did things in the framework that we regret. Especially Coulson. He taught history classes. He really regrets that. Yeah, there are some moments like that where I just wonder, wait, what? So yeah, Fitz this season was freaking great, and I loved him, so he's still awesome. He's still my favorite character, and I still really enjoyed him. And also, the actor's pretty fun. Also, I started watching The Fades, or at least the first episode. He's also a pretty good actor there, so yeah. Pretty cool. It's a pretty good actor. And now I'm just talking about the actor instead. Okay, let's get back onto the show's characters. So we got Daisy. Freaking Daisy. Everyone already knows my thoughts on her, but I still don't really like her. And I gotta say, though, this season, she was better. She was a whole lot better. While, yes, they do still focus on things with her, it's actually balanced out this season a whole lot more. It's not just Daisy, Daisy, everything revolves around Daisy, the sun revolves around Daisy. This season, they actually do create a good balance again, and I really did like that. A lot of the characters weren't spending all their time thinking, oh wow, I wonder what Daisy's up to. Is she okay? This season, she's just sort of there, and again, she's sort of back in the role that she was in the first season. She's still a very good hacker, and now she just has powers with her. And her in the framework was also where she was better. Again, the framework makes everything better, because her and everything going on with Ward, she actually finds a way to forgive him for everything that's happened here, because in this version, he's actually a really good guy. Again, another character that I wish became human, like Ada did, like Hope and Ward. I would have loved that, but unfortunately it won't happen. We might go a season without Ward. I don't think I can handle that, but yeah, Daisy this season, she's better. They definitely did get her back into her normal scenario, which I actually did like. When she's not the main character and everyone should care about her, then she's actually pretty likable to me. Really, it's just when she's being forced into the center of the whole entire story that I don't really like her. There's just, at that point, she sort of gets really boring to me and just sort of destroys anything that was good about her. But this season they did remember that, yeah, she's not the main character. Coulson should be, or like any other member maybe. Like, she should still have focus, but not too much. And they finally did get back to that sort of formula with her. I did really like it, and this season she was actually pretty funny again, so I did enjoy her here. Not as much as I did when I first saw the first season, because there's probably where I thought that she had the best balance, and yeah, there were some times where I just said, "Shut up, Daisy, just shut up, I still don't care about you." But yeah, then there were moments like this that helped me let out my anger. I love it. So, yeah, there were moments like that, and her robot being burnt, that sort of just got out my anger on her. So, yeah, this season she was much better than she's been in the past, too. So, I do like how they remembered, yeah, she's not the main character, and she should only be given a partial amount of time, which is where she really shines. So, I did like how they actually did create a balance again. Then we got May. I'm also very mixed on May, mainly because they try and put a whole lot more emotion into her, and also made her start going crazy because of the Darkhold. While I do get why they did that, as it built up to the Darkhold and sort of showed the effects of it, I kind of wish another character might have had those effects done to them, because I always love watching May just be awesome and just be freaking May. She's not that emotionful, but that's what makes her so freaking great. She's one of the few characters who doesn't let her emotions get in the way of what she's actually doing, and is freaking awesome. But she's also still a lot of fun, and you can definitely tell that she does give a crap about everything going on. She just doesn't really show it all that much. And yeah, there has always kind of been a thing teased with her and Coulson, but this season it's really put into much more of the spotlight, and I'm kind of mixed on that, because on the one hand, it's not really her, it's a robot doing all this. So yeah, while I did like the development between the two, it's not really development on her end. It is for Coulson, but not for her. And then at the end of the season, they decided, let's just start over again. What was the point? Like, what the heck was the point? And they drank a bottle that they were gonna save. And Coulson drank it with a robot. Show is destroyed now. But yeah, May this season, while I'm kind of mixed on her, I do really like her still, and she's still freaking awesome because she's May. And while I do also really enjoy the stuff in the framework, there are some lesser parts to her this season, especially with her LMD model going around and just doing stuff for her. That was probably the part where I disliked her the most, as yeah, it's not really her, and it's not the character that I've grown to love, even though that LMD also did have the most interesting story outside of Ada, mainly because, well, she's actually developing emotions and is sort of torn between her programming and the emotions that she's starting to develop. Those two things are what made her really interesting, but yeah, still, I really just sort of wish that May was the one doing all the developments instead of just a robot. So yeah, there were quite a few problems with her like that. So yeah, there were some things there that I didn't really like with her, but I can still look past it because she's freaking May and she's freaking awesome. So yeah, kind of mixed on her, but overall she's still a pretty awesome character. So I can overlook the bad stuff with her and just focus on all the awesome stuff that she does. So then we got Coulson. I still freaking love Coulson. He's great. How can you not love Coulson? He's hilarious, he's awesome, and also he's probably the best leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. that isn't Nick Fury. Seriously, I just wish that he was the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. again. That's probably what annoyed me the most about Mace being the director, is because last season Coulson was, and then randomly he's just fired because PR. Yeah, PR. That's the reason. So yeah, that was probably where I got pissed off the most. Although eventually he did just sort of become the director again. It's just he wasn't the one actually, doing all the PR stuff, which is stuff they didn't like doing anyway. So yeah, still pretty great. But yeah, there was a good point in the show where they're just like, he's just Coulson. He's still awesome, but he's not director Coulson awesome, which kind of ruined it for me in some areas, especially because he's a huge S.H.I.E.L.D. nerd. He knows so much about the history. He knows so much about how to run this business correctly, but then they decided, let's just put some random guy who doesn't really know that much about how to run this. Let's just let him run this. Geniuses. So yeah, although this was kind of in the boring area on this season, so yeah, I can look past it. Because Coulson is still a lot of fun throughout this whole season, and I still really do enjoy him, and the development with him and May this season actually did happen very well, and I did enjoy that. Although we don't get to see Lola that much. I miss Lola. I really miss her. Although we did look at a picture of her, so that's nice. He looked at a picture of her in the framework, so I like how he still remembers Lola, even in a world where he has different sets of memories. He still remembers, I still have a car that I love. So yeah, I loved that. So yeah, Coulson this season, well, I don't really like some things done with him, especially with him not being director anymore, and all the development going on with him and May not actually going on, really. There were some problems, but he's still Coulson, he's still hilarious, still a lot of fun, and still really awesome, and knows when to be serious, and he's still a great director of S.H.I.E.L.D., even when he's not technically the director. Honestly, Coulson is by far one of my favorite characters on the show, and I still love him here. So, yeah, for the season overall, it's still pretty mixed to me, but overall, I really enjoyed it, especially near the end. A lot of characters got a lot of really good development, and while there were some bad areas, there were some good things to also balance it out. Also, there's a little kid being shown B horror movies, so yeah, a lot of things to love, I think. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Bye.